So I wanted to go in and review each of these games separately and give them their own videos, but I didn't really have a lot of time for that, and I already did a video on Mario 64, so I figure I just lump them all together and give my thoughts on each game as I played them on Super Mario 3D All-Stars. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I already made a video on Mario 64, so I'm not going to talk about it too much here, but it was the first game I got to when I played this collection, so just thought I'd give my thoughts on it really quick. It's the one game in this collection that I'm really comfortable with in terms of how many times I've played it, so unlike the other two which feel kind of fresh when I go back to them, 64 I know in and out like the back of my hand. And I have to say, I really think it's starting to become underrated in a weird way. Yes, I know, a couple opinions on the internet aren't the masses, but I was a bit surprised as many people did not like the game or wouldn't recommend it nowadays for one reason or another. Okay, yes, I know, the camera isn't the greatest thing in the world and it definitely improved in later games. And yes, some things might be a bit basic, some stars too easy, and yeah, you get pushed out of the level every star, I know. But I don't think enough credit goes to how well this game plays, and I'm saying this after I played the other two. Is it just me? Yeah, I know speedrunners love this game too, but there are speedrunners for other games as well, so I can't really use that to support my argument. But there's just something about the way Mario controls in this game. I think the controls are really tight, so the movement feels very precise. Each level can be navigated in different ways than originally intended, and this is something that's a lot of fun and unfortunately taken away in later games where the stars become more episodic based, changing the level around them to fit the mission. Sunshine starts this, and Galaxy even furthers the concept. It adds to the replayability, and I think that's one of the big things that keeps bringing people to this game. Overall, Mario 64 is great, and I have an even deeper appreciation of it after playing Sunshine and Galaxy, because it's one of the easiest to jump into. Speaking of Galaxy, though. So this was the second game I got into just because I haven't played it in a while and I really wanted to give it another shot. The idea of using the Joy-Cons in place of the Wii Remote was enticing, but using an actual full controller was an even more tantalizing thought. And so naturally, the Joy-Cons feel fantastic and are a perfect replacement. The controller was fun too, and I prefer it just to have the traditional form factor. But that said, I really wish that they fixed the ways you interact with the menus. Having to point at the menu to select things instead of just being able to select it with the joystick is an annoyance more than anything, but it's no deal breaker and you sort of kind of forget about it as the rest of the game controls fine. You do have to pick up star bits this way, but again, I kind of expect to have to do it that way, so that doesn't bother me as much, whereas the menu, they could have easily fixed that. But that's about it for the 3D All-Stars details. So Super Mario Galaxy was a title that began production shortly after Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. Game director Yoshiaki Koizumi, all the way in Tokyo, was tasked with following up Super Mario Sunshine. He took some ideas from the prototype Mario 128, such as running around on 3D environments, but the team added the spin jump in to balance out the difficulty of jumping around in said environments. And the interesting thing is, most of these ideas came about before the Wii even entered production, but of course the game was rounded out after it had. Then Nintendo CEO and legend Satoru Iwata stated that he wanted Galaxy to get people around the TV like the old Mario games used to. For this reason, the game was made so that it could be enjoyable for anyone aged 5 to 95. The game starts you off as Mario as you make your way to the castle for a festival. And I have to say, I love how this game just starts you off and gives you a few minutes to play around and explore a little bit before actually jumping into it. You can talk to people and toads, and the world feels lively. We've come a long way from, well, this. But then Bowser comes in and ruins the party like always. What a jerk. And this time you're blasted off to space and have to save the literal universe. When the plumber comes to, he's greeted by Rosalina and her pals along with the hub world that isn't too large in scale but expands little by little, and it makes you want to explore it even more. As you progress more and more, people come to the observatory and it livens up. You also hear the music start to change and become more full. It's a lot of fun watching this observatory light up as you work hard to save the galaxy. The stakes might seem like they're high, but I really just think that's an excuse to get Mario out to all these different locations and diverse worlds. And boy oh boy are they diverse. You'll find all sorts of galaxy and planets to play on, from some you might expect to others that seem completely left field. You'll be traversing beaches, space, haunted ships, the list goes on. The amount of work that they put into this game to make each area stand out really shows. Even the levels that render Mario on a 2D plane for a short time are a lot of fun. Past Mario enemies show up here along with some new ones as well. You also get a variety of boss fights too, and they can be quite tough sometimes. Again, not the hardest things in the world, but you can't exactly sleep on them either. I can say almost confidently that there isn't a world I don't like. Well, maybe those water racing levels, those are a total pain and I definitely dread them when they come up, but they're over pretty quickly, so it's alright. Oh, and I don't know if it's just me, but they seem easier to control in this version of the game. Did they actually change anything? I have no idea, but it does feel better and that's good enough for me. I don't even think I mentioned the power-ups yet either. Be Mario. Oh yeah. Nah, these are fun too. I'm excited that they brought back the older style power-ups to use in the mainline Mario games here. Again, this was due to based Koizumi. In 64 you do have the 3 caps to aid you, but in Sunshine for example, you have Flood and his different nozzles. Here, you're flying around with Bee Mario, climbing up honeycombs and on top of flowers, destroying things with my favorite, the tried and true Fire Flower, skating around with the Ice power-up, which is hard to control at first, but it's oh so satisfying when you get it down. Floating around with Boo Mario, trying to avoid any semblance of light in your path. Hop around with Spring Mario, who could be fun, but again, a bit hard to control. Wreak havoc amongst the unsuspecting enemies with the Invincibility Star. But who can forget the last, but not least, Flying Mario, who sadly has about 2 levels where he can be used in. I guess he would be too overpowered otherwise, but I wish there wasn't more of him. It's fun to fly around with him in the observatory after it's all bright and lit up. It feels like a nice victory lap. They even brought back Luigi too. He seems to have went missing in Sunshine in 64. Yahoo! Oh, just kidding. I love that you can actually play through the entire game as him too. A fantastic bonus seeing as, well, the masses were starved of 3D Luigi for almost 2 decades. And then you even get this weird cross-universe double Luigi thing. I think the really nice thing about this game is, yes, it's not a sandbox style game like 64 and Sunshine, but it is a lot of fun because there are just so many levels and the stars take a lot of effort to get. When you pick a level, you're probably going to be in there for 5 to 10 minutes, and getting a couple stars can take a while. And to me, that's great because it feels like the game is much longer and it feels like you're really getting something out of it. But that said, because this game is not a sandbox style game like the others, for the most part, it is a little bit more linear. I guess the levels are longer, but the path does feel very defined. I mean, I guess it really just depends on what you like. The more linear style or the more open style. So I can't go this long without throwing in one complaint, and the one complaint I do have with this game, and it's one I always talk about, but it's the movement. Yes, for the most part Mario moves fine, but there are times that I just think it's a little bit stiff. Diving is missing here too, which is a huge thing for me. Yes, I know the spin jump is nice because it can save you from certain death and it does add some new movement options in the game, but there is just sometimes it feels like Mario doesn't have his full moveset in a way, and I think this is probably just a result of me playing the other 3D Mario games, but I thought I would point it out. At least you have the long jump this time around. But with that said, one of the nice things about this game is just how accessible it is. And I will say for sure that this is one of the 3D Mario games, along with 64, that just allows you to jump in and not feel overwhelmed because of the way you progress and how the game is laid out. While I was complaining more about the small details in his movement, I've been playing these games for a while. If you're a casual fan or if this is your first time, this sort of thing won't matter to you that much. Mario is simple to control and that's what counts. There's even a story here for you to go out and look for if you want to. It's practically hidden away, and that's because Miyamoto apparently didn't even want it to be in there. and when he found out that Koizumi put it in the game, he was furious. Apparently, anyways. But I'm glad he got it in there because it adds a further dimension to the game, especially since Mario games usually don't have stories whatsoever. It doesn't need it, but it just makes a great game even better. And it's a touching story too, to say the least. It makes you wonder what a Mario game would be like with a full story, or story is an integral part of it, but I guess we won't find out for a long while. And do I even need to talk about the music? The Galaxy soundtrack, easily the best of the series. It has to be. Mario with an orchestrated soundtrack is something else. It gives the game a real sense of adventure, adding urgency and propelling you forward. But that's not all you get. Jams like the Honey Hive Galaxy, Beach Bowl Galaxy, and Dusty Dune Galaxy show that the more chill tunes can hang with the best of the more epic, orchestrated masterpieces. And even more so than the game's main theme, Dusty Garden is probably the official theme song of all 3D Mario games now. It's an endearing song that stood the test of time, and dare I say it's as classic as the original Mario theme is. I'm a total sucker for the Luma theme too, especially how they use it at the end. They really know how to get to you. Mario Galaxy is really nice because it does a good job bringing in the balance of new and familiar. It's great having a bunch of new elements in the game, but also seeing Goombas walk around and getting Fire Mario too. It's actually really unique for a 3D Mario game. It can be a challenging game, especially in the later levels and with some of the challenge comments, so don't let your guard down. Just as in 2D Mario, the best of the 3D Mario titles are hotly contested, but it's no exaggeration to say that Galaxy is one of, if not the actual best, 3D Mario game ever made in terms of overall presentation, from the setting to the diverse levels, power-ups, and fun. This game is just plain fun no matter how you slice it. For me personally, there are only a few games that truly rival Mario Galaxy, but we have to save those for another time. Well, except for one.
Super Mario Sunshine! Woohoo!
So I played the order all wonky when I got into 3D All-Stars. I hadn't played Galaxy in a while and I just wanted to get to that one first. And of course I wanted to save the best for last. Kidding. Or am I? Super Mario Sunshine is a game that divides opinion like no other 3D Mario game. But why is that exactly? Well, I think I might have some ideas. Sunshine was directed by, as you might have guessed, yep, Yoshiaki Koizumi. Gameplay ideas stemmed from the canned Super Mario 64 2 and Mario 128 prototypes, and then they finally settled on what ideas to use, and they went with the water pump. This eventually became Flood, who's sticking around even today. The game itself features an interesting story, a bit different from the norm. Mario goes on vacation, and to his surprise, Mario is accused of causing trouble around Isle Delfino, which was named after the GameCube's codename actually. Mario takes Flood and literally has to clean up the mess caused by fake Mario, but is actually really— and the name of the game is Shine Sprites, and like the Power Stars, you gotta go and get 120 of them, just like in 64 and, well, kind of like Galaxy. I'm not sure why they like the 120 number so much, but I mean, I guess it's a good number to round it off at. Isle Delfino serves as your hub world, and from here you can visit different areas on the island through these M-shaped entrances. There are 8 stages in total, with each of these having 8 shines to get through normal missions, 2 hidden ones, and a 100 gold coin shine like Mario 64. You'll be traveling to a theme park, a village with a windmill, a beach festival, a hotel, you know, the standard stuff you'd find on an Italian-esque island fantasy. And there's a lot to do in these levels too, from races to taming angry chain chomps to cleaning off things or fighting bosses. There's not too many shines like Mario 64 where you can just go and pick one up quickly. You really gotta work for them here. There are a variety of enemies in this game as well, but you'll see these goopy guys around the most often. They can be pretty annoying sometimes, especially when you're preoccupied with something else. You won't see the standard Mario enemies running around too much, but that's okay. The different enemies here add to the feeling that you're off in a faraway place. There are bosses in these levels too, and they're a bit more challenging than before. Unlike the bullies of 64, you'll have PD Piranha here, along with giant bloopers, Shadow Mario, and others. And I know what you might be thinking. How can there be variety if every level is based around this island? But there are plenty of hidden, secret levels that take the form of one-off challenges. And these levels are cool because they're set to different backgrounds and moods, which is a nice touch. And sometimes, depending on the level, Mario won't even have FLUDD, so you're off to get a star without him. And these can be tough since you get used to relying on him so much in the early game, so suddenly having him taken away does throw off your rhythm. And speaking of FLUDD, I think a lot of people might disagree, but I don't think that he's so bad, and he adds a new element to the game that makes it fresh and interesting. The controls are a bit hard to get used to at first, I'll admit that, but once you get used to him and the different nozzles, you'll be begging to get him back once Shadow Mario takes him away. Using him to explore this tropical island is so much fun. I love how you can get to explore so much of the island and it doesn't feel like any old lifeless place either. It's not huge by any stretch, but each spot has a purpose and it rewards a bit of exploration too. The local townspeople are fantastic. Going with them over humans was definitely the right choice because it adds a little bit of fantasy to that more grounded setting. The levels themselves are beautiful too. In combination with the wonderful soundtrack, you'll feel a range of emotions. I think my favorite levels have to be Serena Beach and Pianta Village. I have this thing for levels set at different times of the day, I don't know why. It helps make the whole adventure feel like it's taking place over a period of time instead of just all at once. I love these side levels too. These are so much fun, but they can be really challenging. Mario doesn't move quite as sensitively as he did in Mario 64, and I think that's due to the GameCube controller and how the games were designed. So if you go from one to the other in succession, you'll definitely feel a bit of a difference. But all the main moves are here, minus the long jump unfortunately, so you'll definitely feel at home. And even when you've gone out to get each shine, there's still the blue coins to collect too. These can be tough, especially since they're not even tracked in a helpful way, but you do need to go out and get 240 of them. Unless you're going for 120 stars, you won't have to stress too much, and I think it is a lot of fun going out to find them. But I think they seem to be notorious amongst players, and I've seen them complained about before. I get it, but I also think that there's more egregious offenses in this game, more so than the blue coins. Exploration is rewarded, and I'm fine with that. A bit of a bummer in this game is the lack of power-ups, but that's understandable seeing as FLUDD is such a huge part of it. You get 2 more nozzles to equip, so it's not all that bad. And hey, at least we get Yoshi. Yes, Yoshi is back finally after being absent in playable form in 64, and then they locked him away in Galaxy again, but whatever. But anyways, he's here to help you out on your adventure, and I love the way they implemented him. They gave him a timer and a juice meter so he isn't too overpowered, and he can't swim either, but you are able to eat up enemies and get around different places with him. The only big beef I have with Yoshi in particular is inside the hotel. If you make a mistake while using him, like going into the wrong room or something, you're stuck there, because you can't open the doors when you're riding Yoshi, and you have to wait for him to evaporate into the atmosphere. Big grim. It'd be one thing if he despawned after leaving the area or something, but nope, he just sits there. So don't accidentally eat a pineapple. That, and it can be a bit hard to navigate those tight spaces with him, so be warned. And well, since I'm talking about beef and complaining, I might as well address the elephant in the room. This game is really hard. It's definitely going to get people angry, and judging by what I've seen online, it already has. So the thing about 64 Galaxy is, no matter how hard it might seem, there's always a feeling that, oh, there's a chance I can beat this, if I just give it one more try. Like the bomb mission in Galaxy, for example. It's a tough one to get the placement right. There's never a sense that you can't do it. Meanwhile, in Sunshine, there are quite a few shines that are just such a major pain. The despair sets in right after the first try. I'm not going to go through all of them since there's actually quite a few, but here are the ones that stand out to me. The watermelon mission on the beach? Enough said. Getting the red coins on the bird also from the beach? Nothing worse than getting to the top and missing one of the last coins. The pinball hidden shine, which can be totally unfair since after you bounce, Mario's momentum is carried and you don't have much control. If you do try to move him at a certain time, then he'll just fall out of line and die, so getting the controls down here is a total nightmare. At least you have Flood, I guess? Then there's racing around on the bloopers in Rico Harbor, and this is another tough one, but thankfully you have 3 choices and you don't necessarily need the fastest one, unless you do the mission where you need to get to the finish under, I believe, 45 seconds or so. Oh my goodness. Then there's the Chucksters mission where you have to be flung around, and this one is such a pain in the... Theoretically, you could replay this one an infinite amount of times because they gift you a 1-up at the beginning, but as you keep dying and your patience runs out, you'll even start to miss that one on the first try. I know in school students complain that you don't need a lot of things that they teach you out in the real world, but you're sure as hell going to need it here. You better bust out the calculator and graphs to time the movement and calculate the optimal angle you need to be thrown. Be prepared to die. A lot. Then there's Corona Mountain, which doesn't seem so bad until you get to the boat, which just does not move at all how you want it to. Navigating through the lava is extremely frustrating, and when you finally get to the platform, you'll realize that if you want to complete the game 100%, you'll have to jump back on the boat again and go out and get the blue coins that are hanging out a bit further from the platform. Or you could just skip them and go straight up and finish the game. You have your final showdown with Bowser here, but if you know what you're doing, it's actually not so bad. Which is a little disappointing given how hard the rest of the game is, but then again, boss fights in Mario games are never too hard. And of course, I think everybody knows this piece of evil coming up. Words cannot express how terrible this is, and I don't think I can do it justice, but I'll try to set the stage for you. So there's this island further out from Delfino that has a warp pipe with some special goop on it that only Yoshi can clean up. No problem, except Yoshi can't swim or else poof, or well, whatever this is. So you'll have to eventually find these boats that take you to the island. Except to get to these boats, you have to get Yoshi and travel in the underground sewer system, which gets you to the other island. Then you get on the boat. Now, you can wait for the boat to come and skip the sewer thing, but it takes longer, and if you miss the timing, you'll just be sitting there. So anyways, then you transfer to the second boat, while at the same time trying to maintain Yoshi by eating the fruit left there for you. And then after finally waiting all that time for the boats to drop you off, and assuming you didn't fall into the water, you'll be blessed with, quite possibly, the most frustrating Mario level in existence. That's right, the lily pad level. Seriously, I can't even believe they came up with this thing. You better come here with 99 lives because you're going to die. The water is poisonous, so you'll die if you fall in, and the lily pad is just like the Corona Mountain ship and very hard to control. You'll bounce all around and miss the red coins you're supposed to collect, and if you try to take your time, be real slow in order to get the coins, well, the lily pad will eventually dissipate, so you better hurry up. Now I know that there's a 1-up, and you can get it when you travel down the water, but yeah, good luck getting that thing without missing a red coin. And do not get into that pipe. It's a horrible trick that they put in the level that takes you back to the beginning spawn point on Delfino Island. All that sweet time and effort to get to the lily pad level in the first place will have just been washed down the actual tube. Now I know I just spent a few minutes trashing some of the hardest parts in the game, but I don't want those criticisms to deter you from playing Mario Sunshine. True, it's probably the most challenging 3D Mario game, and that might put off some people, but I really do think that there's just so much here that makes it worthwhile. It does a lot of things right. The new gameplay might have put some people off, but I think that's part of what makes the game so unique. I'm glad Nintendo decided to keep a similar approach with each subsequent Mario game, and they gifted him with some sort of ability or partner, be it Flood, Lumas, or Cappy. And again, I can't sing enough praises about the atmosphere either. The island setting is fantastic, and they really dive deep into it, showing you that even in one location, you can have variety in different types of gameplay. I love Galaxy and other Mario games for having diverse levels and locations, but there are so many times I would be wishing I could see more of those places. It's such a small detail, but I just love standing in Peanut Park at the top of the Ferris wheel, being able to look out and see the other levels in the distance. And it's not just here. You can see Peanut Park from Rico Harbor, or see them both from Bianco Hills over the mountain. The little details are great. Gone is that feeling of, oh, I wish I could go there because, well, you can go there. I didn't get much into the music, but you already know what I'm gonna say. It's great. No, it's no sweeping orchestra epic, but it doesn't need to be. The pieces complement each level perfectly and they help add distinct personality to each place. Again, Mario music is good, water is wet, etc. And with all sorts of different missions, you may be frustrated by some of them, but when you finally beat some of the harder ones, I can't say enough how great it feels. Sunshine certainly isn't as accessible as Galaxy is, but if you love your 3D Mario games and really want to test your skills, then here you go. Don't say I didn't warn you though. While Mario Galaxy feels like a perfect balance of old and new, Mario Sunshine feels like one of the more unique entries in the series. Everything you know is a bit different, from the little things like the Yoshi colors, to the boos and the bloopers, to the setting. It feels like they tried to be really experimental with this game. Maybe not in terms of just gameplay, but everything. And that's what makes it so special, flaws and all. So, which is the best of the 3D Mario games? Well, simply put, they're all fun and I enjoy them all for different reasons. If you were able to somehow put each game's strengths into one game, then I think you might just have the best 3D Mario game ever made. But until they do something like that, we'll be able to enjoy these three fantastic games on Nintendo Switch without any worries of a deadline or anything like that.
Oh.
Well, it was good while it lasted, I guess. And this video here ends the Mario Anniversary run. Next time we'll be back to our other videos, so I'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much for playing my game.